Got to close. But there's just a little story here in the 3rd chapter of Malachi. And I know whenever you say Malachi, especially chapter 3, people say, well, he's talking about tithing. But there's more there than just tithing. There was a group of folk in the same dilemma that the psalmist was writing to. They looked at the evil way of life and they thought evil was the way to go. So in Malachi 3 and 13, the Lord said, your words have been stout against me. They said, well, what have we said? You have said that it is vain to serve the Lord. And what profit is it that we have walked mournfully before the Lord? But the Lord hearkened, and he heard what the evil folk had to say. But there was another crowd. That was this crowd. Somebody said, how you know it's this crowd? It says, because they that feared the Lord spake often one to another. And I know some of y'all say, I hate it when the preacher said, tell your neighbor this and tell your neighbor that. But he said, they that feared the Lord, they spoke often one to another. In other words, they talked about the God they love. They talked about the faith they share. They talked about God's promises in his word. And the Lord hearkened and heard it. And a book of remembrance was written before him. And he said, they shall be mine in that day when I make up my jewel, and I'll spare them as a man spareth his own son that feareth him. And in that day, he said, then you shall return to see the difference between the wicked and the righteous, between him that fears God and him that fears him not. You may be tempted to side with the wicked, but I want you to know God says they're going to be cut off. And there's coming a day when you're going to be able to see that those that love the Lord, that talk about him, that keep his name on their lips, God said they shall be mine. The day is coming when he's going to separate the righteous from the wicked, the sheep from the goats, wicked on the left, evildoers on the left, goats on the left, righteous on the right. You don't hear what I'm saying. Those that fear God on the right, because God has not abandoned you. God has heard your prayer, and don't give up. This year, you're going to see blessings that you've been looking for. This year, he's going to do what he said. This year, because you held on and been faithful to his name, he's going to show you wonderful works that you never dreamed of. This year, bombs may be falling.